I don't know how many people are going to watch live right now on YouTube, but I figured there'll be some hooligans who aren't up to anything.
I mean, you might get some people that are just kind of hanging out and have nothing else to do, like us.
Yep. All right. I think we're live.
I was looking up the last time the Dodgers played the D-backs in the postseason in 2017, and it's kind of funny. JD Martinez took Kershaw deep in game 1.
That's right.
Yeah. Kind of a weird series. We kind of outslugged them. That was kind of what happened. And then Darvish pitched a gem in game 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember Kershaw gave up 3. Did he give up 3 home runs?
4, dude. 4 solo
home
shots.
Okay.
It's fucking crazy.
And then we got to Robbie Ray.
Correct. Justin Turner had a great game. Puig had a great game.
Mm-hmm. I honestly forget that Puig's on that 2017 team.
Yeah, and as I was trying to remember, because I was like, when did Grandal lose his job? Because he caught game 1, and then in game 2 it was Barnes, and then I think in game 3 it was also Barnes.
Got it. All right, here's David.
You know who else was on that team?
For which
Curtis
team?
Granderson.
Oh, the Dodgers, yeah.
Yeah.
And Charlie Culberson.
Yep, and Logan Forsythe.
What's up, David? All right. We are simulcasting on YouTube. I don't think anyone's watching yet, but works out that way.
All right.
Okay. All right. What is going on, Dodger fans? If you're a first-time listener to the Incline Dodgers podcast, welcome aboard. NLDS preview. Here we are, the Dodgers, another postseason about to begin Saturday. Los Angeles Dodgers, 162 record, NL West champions once again, taking on a very familiar foe. And credit to where credit is due for Jake Reiner, who predicted that they would face the Arizona Diamondbacks. 84 and 78. Why don't I just pass over to Jake Reiner right now so that he can just dance with glory, I guess, and brag how he's the only one out of 4 of us who predicted this.
Well, and I was very happy too that not only did my prediction come true, but the reason my prediction came true was also on the mark. And I basically said I didn't know how the Brewers were going to score. Just didn't know where that offense was coming from. And, you know, they had leads. What I didn't expect is for the Brewers pitching staff to be kind of as bad as it was. I mean, Corbin Burns didn't pitch well. Peralta pitched well pretty much the whole game, and then he kind of imploded. Their bullpen didn't really do well. And the Diamondbacks are just feisty. I mean, that's the one thing I'm worried about in this Dodger series coming up, is that they don't give up, and they keep grinding, and they've got some really good bats in that lineup that can turn it on at any given moment. And of course, you know, Corbin Carroll leading the charge kind of took over that series. I thought maybe we'd have a 3-game series, but we didn't have any 3-game series. The wild card round was kind of a snooze fest.
David Rosenthal, what are your thoughts on the Dodgers playing the Arizona Diamondbacks? Last time these two squared off in a playoff series was 2017.
I mean, I think this is a best case scenario for the Dodgers. I mean, I think we all wanted Arizona. I think they are the last team that got in the playoffs, and I think we've played them well since the beginning of time. So I think this is all you can ask for as a Dodger fan. They hit the shit out of Merrill Kelly. I forget who posted it, but someone posted his stats since 2021 to now. They've lost, I think it was like 11 of his 12 starts or something, and his ERA and WHIP are insanely high. So should be a comfortable game 1. I think game 2, Bobby Miller-Gallen should be interesting and fun. And I think that's where the Dodgers are most vulnerable. I don't think this series goes more than 4, though.
So the Dodgers and Diamondbacks squared off 13 times this season. Dodgers ended up winning the regular season series, 8 games to 5 losses. But if we step back all the way back to April, it was a slugfest. There were some games where the Diamondbacks were just teeing off. We were worried that this might be the next offensive juggernaut in the NL West. They absolutely just boat raced and ran all over Noah Syndergaard. They destroyed Michael Grove. And there was even a game where they took Clayton Kershaw deep a few times. But after that, the Dodgers started to get into gear. They took care of business. And after I tallied up the runs, the Dodgers outscored the Diamondbacks 73 runs to 45 runs to conclude 2023. But I learned this lesson last season. Even if a team dominates their little brother all regular season long, it means absolutely nothing in the postseason. And the Padres broke my heart a year ago. So I'm not taking these Diamondbacks for granted, but I do agree with David. This on paper was a best case scenario for the Dodgers. You get the 6th seed team. You're the 2 seed. So even though the Atlanta Braves are the 1 seed, they have to deal with Philadelphia. We'll talk about the other NLDS and ALDS series later on briefly, but the Dodgers, familiar foe, 6th seed, 84 win team, Arizona Diamondback. There's no excuse not to beat this Diamondbacks team, but I'm not going to take them lightly. So let's get into it. Game 1, as David pointed out, Merrill Kelly takes the mound. He's sporting a 12-8 record, 3.29 ERA, 0-2 this season against the Dodgers with a 3.98 ERA, 0-11 lifetime. Clayton Kershaw is going for the Dodgers, and he faced Arizona 3 times this season. He went 2-1 with a 3.18 ERA, 17 innings pitched, 18 strikeouts, but did allow 4 home runs. I have more stats on that matchup in a minute. I wanted to get your guys' overview on Merrill Kelly, Clayton Kershaw, kind of your expectations for game 1.
American hero Merrill Kelly. Let's point that out.
Almost.
Played for Team USA in the WBC. One of our.
Did he drop out?
No,
he pitched.
Yeah, he started that
lot.
last game, I thought.
Did he?
Anyway, the Dodgers
he
own
was
him.
like our game 7 starter, dude.
Yeah, he was. I believe he was one of our, because none of the.
Why didn't he go game 2 then?
No, it's because Mark DeRosa just completely overlooked Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn should have been our ace. He should have been starting every important game in that series, but they just kind of didn't really view him. And of course, he pitches well when he does pitch, but we get Merrill Kelly in our World versus USA championship game.
The weird thing about Merrill Kelly is that he pitches pretty damn well against the rest of the league. I mean, he had a really good season.
It's like a reverse Blake Snell almost.
Yeah, I was just going to say reverse Blake Snell, where Blake Snell pitches really well against the Dodgers and not that well against the rest of the league, although this season was much different for Blake Snell. I think the Dodgers have the best chance. I mean, look, obviously they have to at least split the first 2 games. I mean, at the very, very least, but they have to win this first game. I mean, absolutely have to. Because if you go down 0-1 and you gotta go up against Zach Gallen, and, you know, as much as we all love Bobby Miller, you know, rookie starting his first playoff game, you know, it's going to be an uphill climb after that. So game 1 is so important. The bats need to be there. That's going to be the key. The Dodgers are going to live or die with their offense. I mean, we knew this. We knew this all season. We knew this going into the postseason. That's what it's going to have to be. They have to, Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman have to lead the charge. Everyone else has to be locked in. And as far as confidence goes into a postseason, I'm fairly confident in this team, more confident in this team than a lot of the other great teams that we've had in the past. I think I'm even more confident than I was with the 111 win team that was last year. I just didn't feel like we were going to, you know, I felt like we were going to be, I thought we were going to beat the Padres, but I don't know. It just, a feeling thing was just not there.
The team was kind of soft. That's
yeah,
what it was.
A little bit.
They were just kind of soft.
A little bit. This team seems the most together. They seem the most lively. They have the most fun together. So I like all that I'm seeing from this team personality wise. But like Kevin said, none of this shit fucking matters. I mean, none of this matters when you go into game 1. You take a look at the Dbacks. They are just, you know, they're playing with house money. You know, they got nothing to lose. They put out the Dbacks social media team put out a like a hype video after they beat the Brewers, you know, basically saying, like, we have all the receipts of everybody saying, including you guys, that the Brewers were just going to, you know, it was a cakewalk against the Dbacks and all the, the major media guys were saying Brewers in 2. So they've got a chip on their shoulder. And of course they would love nothing more to knock out the Dodgers. So the pressure is kind of on the Dodgers here because the D-backs are going to be playing fast. They're going to be playing loose and they're going to be pumped.
There's some good Dodger matchups against Merrill Kelly. Mookie Betts has homered off him 3 times in his career. Freddie Freeman's 296 lifetime. Max Muncy's 412 lifetime. And James Outman is hitting 444 against Merrill Kelly. David Peralta's 4 for 10 and Will Smith's batting 323. So a lot of these Dodgers have seen Merrill Kelly well. On the flip side with Clayton Kershaw, I do agree that this is kind of a must win for Kershaw because I don't think they should roll out Clayton Kershaw in a game 4 in Arizona, just for the pure fact that Chase Field has always kind of been a house of horrors for Kershaw. And so if we were to get to that point, if there is a game 4, which we can worry about when we get there, I'm not as comfortable with Kershaw on the road as I would be with him at Dodger Stadium. Corbin Carroll has seen Kershaw very well this season. He's 4 for 7 with 2 home runs. And of course, Christian Walker lifetime always has seen Clayton Kershaw well, nearly batting 300 with 5 home runs. Those are about the only 2 Arizona Diamondbacks that have any notable success against Kershaw.
And you can live with solo shots. The key to this series for the Dodgers is to keep these guys off the bases, because that's going to be their strategy. They're going to get on base and they're going to run wild. And I know the Dodgers have kind of clamped down on holding base runners on, and Kershaw is one of the best at holding runners on. So that was what happened in the beginning of this year when we were kind of like, what's going on with Arizona and why are we struggling so much against them? It was because they were just running ragged all over us. And that's going to be their strategy because it does, on paper, they're not going to outslug the Dodgers. The Dodgers just have so much more of a potent offense than the D-backs do. So the D-backs have to manufacture runs, and that's going to be a huge storyline during these NLDS games.
It's also important for Clayton Kershaw to not throw fastballs down the middle, because that's always been the one knock with Kershaw in the second half of his career. I expect the Diamondbacks to be very aggressive on the first pitch. That tends to be the way to get to Clayton Kershaw, because the deeper Kershaw usually gets into the count, the harder he gets. So what I'm going to be looking for is probably going to expect the Diamondbacks to be swinging a lot on the first pitch.
I mean, they're definitely going to be running when they get on base. That's Jake. You're 100% right with that shit. I mean, they know that the Dodgers are the superior team, and they know that they're going to have to do that shit to even have a chance in the series. So the top of the lineup guys, Carroll gets on, even Thomas at the bottom, he gets on. They're going to steal the whole time. Luckily, Smith has gotten better throughout the year. It's just on these pitchers to hold him. So honestly, I am not concerned about this Diamondbacks team whatsoever. I don't know how else I can say it. We can talk about this all the time, but I just am not concerned about this Diamondbacks team. I'm just not.
I'm very concerned.
Playoffs.
I'm very concerned. As a Dodgers
I'm concerned
fan,
about the playoffs because the Dodgers are the Dodgers. But in terms of the competition, if the Dodgers lose this series, they're going to beat themselves. They're not going to get beat by the Diamondbacks. And yeah, that might sound like a fucking cocky bullshit excuse type of, over fan behavior. But honestly, I think that's just what's going to happen if they lose this series. But I like I said at the beginning, the series is not going more than 4 games.
Don't know if I'm that confident. I don't know if you could say that with a pure fact that the Dodgers will beat themselves, because the Dodgers pitching at the end of the day has to do their job. If they're going to serve up home runs like they did in April, that's not beating ourselves. That's pitching like shit. And I think this is what's interesting, though, is that this is the most wild card of a Dodgers pitching staff that I think we've ever seen going into the playoffs. So it's going to be do or die. They're going to have to really reveal how well they can pitch under pressure. So I think that's what's going to be exciting with the series. So we can move on to game 2, which is all but confirmed. Bobby Miller taking the ball for the Dodgers, and he'll be facing the Diamondbacks ace, Zach Gallen, who is 17-9 this season with a 3.47 ERA. But you want to know how Zach Gallen did against the Dodgers this season? Any guesses?
Please enlighten me.
We got to him. No,
I feel like we killed him once.
He's 0-2 with a 9.90 ERA.
Yeah, we did.
Gave up 4 home runs. That was all in his most recent outing just a few weeks ago. 11 earned runs over 10 innings thrown. Will Smith is sticking out like a sore thumb in terms of success. He's 6 for 16 with 3 RBIs against Gallen. Mookie 5 for 18 with a home run, 2 RBIs. But other than that, no one has been that successful against Gallen other than some one-off home runs. But yeah, this is an important game to win. You don't want to see Zach Gallen again in a decisive game 5, because that would be who would be on the mound for the Diamondbacks if we get to that point. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Bobby Miller will do. He had a fair amount of success against Arizona through 12 innings, 8 strikeouts, 3 ERA.
I want to say one thing about Will Smith. If Will Smith goes on an absolute tear this postseason, the Dodgers are making a deep run and they might just win the goddamn whole thing. I mean, if he is on fire, that means that the rest of the guys are doing what they need to do. But Will Smith is going to be an X factor. I mean, they're going to bat him third, much to, our objection to that, and how much we want JD Martinez to be in that third hole and have Smith hit fifth. I think that's the best construction of this lineup. We know they're not going to do that. It's going to be Will Smith pretty much every single game, unless it is just so bad that you can't not make a move before one of these games and change the lineup. But if Will Smith goes on a tear this postseason, I think the Dodgers have a chance to win the World Series. I mean, he is that important to the success of this team offensively.
There's no chance they start Barnes game 1, right?
Oh, with Kershaw? No. So you're
like 0%.
Well, I don't know if it's 0%, but that means Will Smith's bat's on the bench, because you're not gonna have him DH.
It's too successful against
you could do it if you're planning Kershaw to only go like 4 innings and just do a complete line change, but then Kike Hernandez is your backup catcher. So I don't know. I don't think he should be starting any games, frankly, right now.
Have Tucker Barnhart ready.
Offense is too important to sit out this early in a series.
Yeah.
And speaking of Will Smith, this is a good way to just bring more Will Smith talk into the conversation. If there's a team that Will Smith wants to see in the playoffs, it's the Arizona Diamondbacks. 351 batting average this season against them, 432 on base, 568 slugging. He also drove in 7 Dodgers and hit 2 home runs. So kind of like what Jake was saying, he's batting in the 3-hole. No excuse for Will Smith not to have at least a somewhat productive series, because this is a dream matchup for Smith. He's very familiar with these pitchers. He's had a lot of success against them in his career, and he's in arguably one of the most important parts of the lineup.
Yeah, it's huge. It's going to be huge for him.
I see some comments in the chat. We'll get to those in a few minutes. Don't worry, guys. Thank you all for hopping in. Hit that like button and subscribe as well while you're here.
Can we talk about the Bobby Miller start for a minute, though? What do you guys think he's going to end up with line-wise? Because I'm honestly torn. I could see it going one of 2 ways, and they're very different ways.
Well, give it to us. What do you think?
I don't know. I think he's either just going to shove it up their ass entirely from the start, or I think he might struggle early on, and Dave Roberts might have a quick hook, honestly. I mean, I think you should have a quick hook in the playoffs, but I don't know. I think that the former is way more likely. I mean, I feel like he is just ready for this moment out of anybody of the rookies, but I don't know. At the end of the day, he is a rookie. So I was just curious what you guys think.
I think the quick hook on Bobby Miller is going to be very heavily dependent on what happens in game 1. If the Dodgers win game 1, I think Bobby Miller will have a little bit longer of a leash. However, if they don't and they're down 0-1, then it's panic time a little bit. Because if you go down 0-2 back to Arizona, you're kind of fucked. So,
well, that's another reason why you have to have Lance Lynn on the roster.
I agree.
If you're down 0-2 going to Arizona, you need that man pitching for you. 100%, no doubt about it. No rookie. You need Lance Lynn down 0-2, 1,000,000%. Kevin's going to fucking yell at me and call me stupid and call Lance Lynn awful. But I'm telling you, down 0-2, there was nobody I would want more than that big hoss, Lance Lynn.
So you're saying Lance Lynn is your game 3 starter regardless?
No, absolutely not. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying if we are down 0-2, there's nobody else who should touch that ball in the first inning.
Why wouldn't you start him up 2-0 then?
I mean, sure, you can.
I'm just
But
trying.
I'm saying it's more. It's way more urgent it's 0-2.
I'm trying to follow the logic because you're saying you would start him in the most pressure-filled spot possible.
Correct.
So why not start him in less pressure?
Well, I think
I would.
I think
so. Then he is your game 3 start.
No,
I'm trying to. I'm trying. What?
Look, here's the only thing I'm saying. If they're down 0-2 and you have a choice between a rookie and Ryan Pepio, who's never pitched in the playoffs before, or Lance Lynn, this 15-year journeyman who's been through everything, been everywhere, been there before, you give it to Lynn. Down 0-2, 100%. Then if you can get that one win on the board, then you can get more confidence in your team, and then you can give the ball to a rookie. But down 0-2, you got to give him the ball, 100%. Do or die.
I just hope it doesn't get to that point.
It won't, but it's fun to discuss.
Back to Bobby Miller. I think he goes 5 or 6, and he gives up 1 run and he strikes out 7. I mean,
that's
I
phenomenal.
Then
I
think yeah, but it's not. I don't foresee. I mean, I think it could go one of two ways, like you're saying. I mean, he could just absolutely shut them down and they don't get anything off of him.
Yeah.
But I think the more likely outcome is that he goes 5, goes 6, and limits the damage. The Dodgers offense needs to support these pitchers. That's just plain and simple. Like Kevin was saying, going into this postseason, the pitching staff we're not as confident in the starting rotation as we would if we had Dustin May, if we had, Urias, if we had, all the Bueller. So the offense needs to carry. I mean, I can't stress that enough.
Bobby Miller has given me no reason not to trust him in the postseason. This guy wants the ball in the big moment. He has 100-mile-plus-per-hour swing and miss stuff. That's exactly what you need out of a starter in the playoffs. The Diamondbacks are a pretty disciplined team. They don't strike out actually a whole lot. And I've seen Bobby Miller pitch well against the Diamondbacks a couple times this season. I don't think he's going to really see the lineup 3 times through. That's the Dodgers thing. They usually pull them after 2 times through. And Dave Roberts has already kind of indicated that the first 2 games, the bullpen is all hands on deck, kind of what I was saying a week ago. The best way to approach this series is just the most efficient way to get 27 outs. So if Bobby Miller is dealing after the 5th inning and he's still cruising, maybe he gave up just 1 run, wouldn't shock me at the very least if the Dodgers go to the bullpen regardless, just because they're so dead, or they're so like all in on that idea of avoiding 3 times through the lineup in the playoffs. Saw that with Tyler Anderson last season against the Padres. So I'm not getting my hopes up that they're going to let Bobby Miller pitch deep, but I still feel pretty confident in him, and let's go. I love that Bobby Miller has worked his way up into being top 2. All right. So let's see what's going on in the chat. Oscar Lopez, I hope they don't use Lynn as much in the postseason. We'll get more on Lynn in a second.
All right, Oscar, fair enough.
Andrea Chavez, when would Pepio make a start? Would he have an opener in an NLDS series, assuming we get there? Thoughts?
Well, I think it'll be game 3. If there is a game 3, I think.
Well, there will be a game 3.
Well, there has to be a game 3.
Sorry. Yes, I think it'll be game 3, Andrea. I think the Dodgers are going to be at worst 1-1 in the series, and I think that's a comfortable spot to start a rookie starter who's not Bobby Miller. So I think game 3 he'll probably just get the full start without an opener or whatever.
Also, what about Arizona? I mean, are we assuming that they go with Brandon Pfaadt in game 3?
Probably.
Who else do they have?
I mean, starter wise, they're kind of banged up, honestly. They cut what's his face?
Zach Davies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got
Ginkle, not Ginkle. Frias is there, Thompson is there. They've kind of just been rocking 3, dude. I don't know who the hell. Castro can start, I guess.
Ginkle had a good series against the Brewers. And so did Paul Sewald.
Keyword, like you said at the beginning, though, it was against the Brewers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the Dodgers are probably going to go opener no matter what.
Game 3?
Game 3 with Corbin Carroll being the leadoff hitter and a
don't say
lefty
Ferguson, dude.
would not shock me in the very least if the Dodgers go Vesia or Ferguson in the first inning just to get the top of the three out of the board, off the board, off the
I would
scoreboard.
fucking hate that, dude.
Yeah,
I would fucking hate it.
They're setting up Ryan Pepio to come out of the bullpen, I think. I don't think they want, like I said, 3 times through, they don't want to see Corbin Carroll have a matchup against Pepio 3 times. So what do? You probably incorporate an opener. Maybe it's not one of those lefties. Maybe they go Brewstar. I don't effing know.
That would be a waste of Brewstar. He had one of the most underrated dominant seasons for a reliever we've seen in a long time.
So quiet.
Nobody was talking about that. Nobody. Everyone's all, glazing Ryan Brazier, rightfully so. But I mean, Brewstar's been here all along.
I honestly would love it if Caleb Ferguson was a guy that you could rely on as an opener.
Yeah.
They've used him before and it's been kind of a disaster. They've used him in high leverage. It's been a disaster at times, not all the time, but pretty bad. And I get the idea. I mean, obviously you want to not have Pepio face the top 3 guys in the Arizona order 3 times. I get all of that. But to me, like, I don't think Pepio needs an opener. I don't think he does. I know they're probably going to, but personally, I think he's shown enough to where, give him the ball.
You don't want to see him pitch with a 2-0 deficit in the second inning?
I don't want that.
Okay.
I mean, I really don't want that.
Yeah.
Dodgers already did this successfully. They scripted out Pepio going 5 and then Yarbrough going 4. I could very well see the Dodgers doing something similar in that fashion.
Start Yarbrough. Do that.
You could start Yarbrough.
You could. Yeah, you could.
Or just start Pepio and then bring in Yarbrough. Don't start Ferguson or Vesia for an inning. Don't do that.
Although the last time we saw Yarbrough, he got absolutely torched.
Yeah,
but
so
that was in Colorado.
I would start Pepio for 2 turns through the order and then go Yarbrough through a turn or 2 and then go to the bullpen. Boom, done.
Yeah. I get
Unless
it.
you're down 0-2.
But here's the thing though, and I hope they don't do what happened to Jose Barrios with Toronto, where
that was fell.
Cruising 47 pitches, cruising, and they lift him for Kikuchi, and it was a disaster because that's how they planned it out. I just, I know that Dave Roberts is so beholden to this script that I hope he's learned enough at this point to when he sees his starter dominating, and if Pepio is dominating, let's say they start Pepio, or let's say, they're worried about the 3rd time through the order, but he's dealing. I really hope he's learned enough to just not take him out, because that could be an absolute disaster.
So I don't think a lot of people are prepared, because this is the most managing Dave Roberts is going to have to do as a Dodger manager in the playoffs, in my opinion. I think maybe in 2021 against Atlanta, when we had all those injuries, I think maybe that compares to this. But after games 1 and 2 with Kershaw and Miller, this is going to be the Dave Roberts show. And we know how that goes. So I think fans need to be prepared for potential disaster in terms of a decision. But in terms of the overall, playoffs, I think the Dodgers are fine. I just think the point is Dave Roberts is going to have to do a fuck ton of managing this postseason.
One of Dave Roberts' comments earlier today was that Lance Lynn is in game for game 3. I don't know if that's just some type of chess move to have the Diamondbacks off balance, but starting Lance Lynn, in my opinion, shouldn't happen no matter what. We already talked about Ryan Pepio. He's the better option. If they go Lance Lynn, I think it's going to be a disaster in my book. He did not pitch well for the Dodgers.
That's not true.
Whatever David says, it's wrong.
That's wrong.
He had an ERA at nearly 4.5.
He was a quality start machine.
He was walking guys like crazy and somehow getting out of these jams, bailed out by the Dodgers defense. I already know what will happen if Lance Lynn faces the Diamondbacks to start a game. He's going to walk a batter. They're going to steal a base. Someone's going to hit a home run. Someone's going to hit a triple. We're going to be down 2-0 instantly. He doesn't strike people out anymore. He walks just about as many guys as he strikes out. And that home run clip that he did 16 home runs over his 70 innings or whatever, that's just too high for me.
No one on the Diamondbacks roster right now has a home run off of him, just for the record.
Because he's been in the AL the last decade.
Irrelevant.
I mean, it's very relevant. I don't think Corbin Carroll's faced him in his career.
Christian Walker's 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts. So Lance Lynn might be worth a look.
I'm honestly not too scared of Christian Walker in this series, but we'll talk about Dbacks.
No, he's hitting a home run in game 1. You know that. 4th inning.
I just hope it's a solo shot.
It's solo home run, 4th inning. To bring the Diamondbacks within 1 run. That will make the score 2-1.
I believe in Kershaw too much.
That'll be the only run he allows.
I'm worried about Corbin Carroll more. What I say, 4 for 7 lifetime with 2 home runs.
Yeah, he's a beast.
So the Dodgers hitters, there's actually a lot of guys that have success against Arizona this season. Mookie Betts hit 250 with a 390 on base, 2 home runs. Freddie Freeman hit 389, 431 on base, 667 slugging, 3 home runs, 6 doubles. Already talked about Will Smith hitting 351. Even though Muncy hit 200, he did have a 365 on base, a home run, 7 RBIs. JD 300, 1 home run, 7 RBIs. Jason Hayward 375, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, 1,236 OPS. And James Outman 306, 447 on base, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs. Unlike last season where the Dodgers bats didn't fare well against the Padres pitching wise, especially like Blake Snell, just read off all those guys who've had success against Arizona this season. Feeling pretty confident.
The Dodgers have so many players in their lineup that could have just monster series. You look at Jason Hayward could put himself back on the map as this sort of resurgent minor league contract boy wonder again. And David Peralta could come back and own his old team. JD Martinez could own his old team.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many options up and down this lineup that can just take over. James Outman could put himself on the map too. So while we expect Freddie Freeman and we expect Mookie Betts and we expect Will Smith and JD Martinez and to some degree Max Muncy to be productive, the Dodgers have so many other weapons in their lineup. And you look at it top to bottom, Arizona just doesn't have that. And even their best guys, I wouldn't take over the Dodgers, maybe second tier guys. I mean, it's just the matchup on paper is what the Dodgers would love to have. But, it goes back to this is the postseason and weird shit happens. So just buckle up.
I think Colton Wong's going to make it over Ahmed Rosario. Just changing my stance on that.
Really?
Just because of the pitching dominant.
They're
Diamondbacks?
so right-handed heavy. Yeah, exactly.
What about Joe Mantiply?
All-star Joe Mantiply?
All-star Joe Mantiply, Ahmed Rosario, late game pinch hitter.
But you don't need him if you have Kike Taylor on the bench.
Yeah, that's true.
What I think the Dodgers have to think about in this series is we know who's starting. If they sub out, let's say, Jason Hayward and they bat Kike for him, if the Diamondbacks bring in one of their top right-handers, they might decide we don't really want Kike batting against him. We'd rather have the lefty off the bench. Hence, Colton Wong would be your only lefty versus Ahmed Rosario, who's another right-handed bat. So I think the Dodgers
I don't know, man. Are you really going with Colton Wong in that situation, though?
It's better than the latter where they had to have Austin Barnes come off the bench to face Josh Hader.
But that's the point. Just don't even make that sub.
But they're going to have to make the sub with
just
Jason
because
Hayward.
He's right-handed. Kike Hernandez has hit righties before. Like one at bat, sure, take it, dude. Like I don't need to give Colton Wong a roster spot just for that one situation. I'd rather just fucking let it ride with Kike in that situation.
Well, also you look at you look at what could occur in this series. Every single game is pretty much going to be the same lineup. You've got 3 right-handed pitchers going against the Dodgers. So to me, it's like Are you going to carry Ahmed Rosario for that one Joe Mantiply at bat late in the game where they have to sub out a Peralta or a Hayward or one of those guys? I don't know if it's worth it. Also, Ahmed Rosario kind of tailed off. I mean, he started out really hot when he came over from the Guardians, and he kind of played himself out of the lineup. So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a toss up. I mean, you're talking about end of the bench kind of guys. It's like who do you want on the bench? And I could go either way. Honestly, I like Colton Wong. I think he is kind of that spark plug type of guy, veteran who's had success in the postseason before. He's been there. I like him, but I also like Rosario. So, I mean, I could go either way, but I could see them going with Colton Wong since, you have Taylor and Kike there. I don't know that Rosario, if you're going to send someone up to bat against Joe Mantiply, are you going to go with Rosario if you have him on the roster, or are you going to go Chris Taylor? They're probably going to go Chris Taylor.
We're just three dudes talking Joe Mantiply matchups at 11 p.m. on a Thursday night right now.
What else are we going to do, David?
Absolutely nothing. There's nowhere
Exactly.
I'd rather be.
And we're live on YouTube.
Yeah, these are must-win games. We can't mess around here. What if they need Colton Wong at second base in the ninth inning? You never know. Crazier things have happened.
I mean, Ahmed Rosario also plays second base.
But he's no Colton Wong. One of them has gold gloves.
I just want to see Kike play third late in the game. That's what I ask.
Well, that would mean that we have a big enough lead for that to occur.
One run is enough for me.
One run?
Yep.
I don't think that's
maybe
safe.
in the ninth.
In the ninth, yes. Just end it.
That's a huge
Lock
risk.
it down. Let Evan Phillips go to work and let Kike play third in the ninth.
So the Diamondbacks lineup that they were rolling out in the postseason was Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, Tommy Pham, Christian Walker, Gabriel Moreno, who I guess is dealing with a concussion. Might not even be available if he goes on the concussion protocol. That'd be a huge loss.
I think he'll be fine.
Hit an absolute piss missile in that series.
He's good.
Did you see that home run?
Yeah, he's good.
Unreal.
Lourdes Gurriel, Alec Thomas, Evan Longoria.
Old man Longoria.
He saved the series.
Yeah, he won them one of those games.
And Perdomo at shortstop. So the Dodgers have kind of owned them. I mean, the only guys worth pointing out, Corbin Carroll hit 196 against the Dodgers, 2 home runs, 6 stolen bases. Christian Walker, who I said they contained, he hit 234 with just a home run and 5 RBIs. And then Marte, 234, Gurriel, 244. So no one has really killed the Dodgers on this Arizona Diamondbacks roster at this point in the season. Is there any bat on Arizona that concerns you more than anyone else? I think we already know the answers, but feel free to elaborate again. If you want.
We talked about Carroll and we talked about Walker. Obviously, those are the two most kind of daunting bats in that lineup. But another one is Ketel Marte. He can do so much. I mean, he's got so much power. He had a really
good year.
He's had a really good year. Again, he's consistent. He consistently has great years. And he's fast. So that's a guy that really concerns me. And funny enough, the last time the Dodgers played the Dbacks in the postseason in the 2017 NLDS game 1, Ketel Marte was one of the 4 guys that hit a home run off Kershaw. One of the other guys was JD Martinez, believe it or not. So that's something to keep in mind, I guess.
I'm so glad that AJ Pollock isn't walking through that door and suiting up for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
He was another one of the home runs.
Yeah. He killed us. Paul Goldschmidt killed us. Most of these Diamondbacks, other than Christian Walker, historically haven't done anything against the Dodgers. And I'd be kind of surprised if they really get to us. I would be blindsided, but I'm not going to take them lightly. Not going to make that mistake. But this is a pretty weak bottom half lineup that kind of reminds me of last year's Dodgers, where it was top heavy and then a bunch of scrubs. And so when we get to some questions about X factors, I think one thing I am more excited about with this Dodgers team is much deeper lineup. You get to hitters 6 through 9. You feel like they can actually do shit.
Yeah, that's a good point. And a deep bench.
No, I mean, I think we covered their hitters. I mean, Gurriel is a guy you want to tread carefully around, and Thomas as well, because he's super fast. So you want to keep him off the bases.
Team Mexico legend, Alec Thomas. It's kind of full circle that both Jake and I went to the World Baseball Classic at Chase Field, and now here are the Dodgers playing playoff games at Chase Field.
Yeah.
Who would have freaking thought?
Yeah, right.
So this is my strategy, how I think the Dodgers will beat the Diamondbacks. You get to the Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen. You work the pitch count of the starters. The sooner you get into the Diamondbacks bullpen, that's where they're exposable. I don't buy that they were that good just based off 2 games against the Brewers. Like a guy like Kevin Ginkel, who had a nice season, Dodgers have gotten to him in the past. Miguel Castro, okay season, ERA in the 4s. Dodgers have gotten to him to the past. Joe Mantiply, who looked like Billy Wagner against the Brewers, ERA at like 4.5. Dodgers can get to them. And then Paul Sewell, overrated, not a good closer in my opinion. I think this is a pretty flawed Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen. And so if the Dodgers can get to them by the 4th or 5th inning, I really like our chances. I think that they're going to tail off and just tee off, I should say.
Yeah, that's the strategy. I mean, it's just, you just got to outslug them. That's basically how the Dodgers are going to make a deep postseason run. Is this offense is the key to everything.
It's time for them to put the team on their back.
I agree, because far too often have we seen the pitching staff just walking a goddamn tightrope. I mean, even thinking back to like the last few seasons, just no margin for error from the pitching staff. And more times than not, they were able to execute and come through. And then they'd have to hold off until the offense eventually woke up. I'd like to see runs be put up early. And I don't want to wait around till like the 6th or 7th inning for this team to wake up. You got to put runs on the board early. That's what I'm going to be looking for most often.
Yeah, coming through with runners in scoring position is pretty important. That was always one of the biggest Dodgers weaknesses. Is I feel like anytime they had something cooking and then they come up short, it keeps the other team in it and builds momentum on the other side, and they're able to come back and win.
Yeah. So, and what this particular Dodgers team 2023 did so well is manufacturing runs, picking up runs when they can, hitting ground balls to the right side, sack flies. I know this team doesn't bunt at all, but like those are the things that will add up, because if you're able to score in any inning, that's going to matter in the postseason, because one run here, one run there is going to matter. So they just have to continue doing what they've been doing all season long, which is just, scratch and claw and get these runs across. The power will be there. But what happened last season was that they were so reliant on the, sort of boom or bust, that they had no approach when it came to 2-strike hitting and runners in scoring position and bases loaded, nobody out. They couldn't seem to score any runs. This year has been so much different.
With the NLDS starting Saturday, TickPick is sponsoring the Incline Dodgers podcast, so I highly recommend, if you're trying to get last-minute tickets to these baseball games, you're going to find the best deal over on the TickPick app, and there's no service fees at checkout. Just the other day, I think it was like $80-something to get in the door at Dodger Stadium. So TickPick is the go-to site, and trust me that the Dodgers are going to need your voices loud. Last season, the Dodgers kind of got an unfair rep about being too quiet at Dodger Stadium during the postseason, so let's prove all the haters wrong. So yeah, once again, thank you for TickPick. NFL's also in full swing. Excuse me. So if you're trying to support your favorite NFL team, you can get the best deals on TickPick as well. I just went to another concert the other night, and of course, use TickPick. So that's the app. That's the sponsor of the show. Okay, so I wanted to get your guys' thoughts. They announced the broadcast team for the Dodgers games. It's TBS again. First game Saturday at 6:20 p.m. Bob Costas, Ron Darling, and Lauren Shihadi. Thoughts?
Well, first of all, I love Bob Costas. Legend. Absolute legend.
I'm glad you started off because that is not where I was going.
Okay. Well, I love Bob Costas. Also Syracuse alum, go Orange. I remember seeing Bob come into one of
Bob
my,
in the halls.
Yeah. He came and gave like a guest lecture at, during one of my classes.
Yeah.
It was like one of the coolest things. Just a pure baseball guy, classic legendary broadcaster. I know a lot of people give him a lot of flack for whatever. But just in terms of a true baseball Puritan, he's just one of the best. And I'm very excited to have him call Dodgers games. I don't remember the last time he did it or if he ever did. But I'm very excited for him. In terms of Ron Darling, I don't care for Ron Darling. It seems like,
he's the worst.
He's got something against the Dodgers for whatever reason. He never really praises them and kind of is, a little bit, favoring the other team. And I assume Lauren Shahadi is going to be the on-field reporter.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fine. I mean, she's been at MLB Network for however long, so she does.
She's a seasoned vet. She knows what she's doing.
She's a seasoned vet, so I've got no problem there. The only issue I really have is with Ron Darling.
The worst.
It's funny. I've managed to disagree with both of you differently in this situation. So I actually like Ron Darling.
Oh.
I think he knows baseball. I think he's not too obnoxious. He does kind of talk a lot. So if he could just turn down the quantity, I think the quality is pretty good. As for Bob Costas, obviously legend, historic, one of the best ever, but it's over for me with Bob. I've had enough.
Oh, come on.
It's time to just move on with Bob. The only saving grace for me with Bob is that one famous clip of, I believe, I forget who the pitcher was.
It was the reliever, right?
Yes, on the Cubs.
Rope.
It was like
Yes,
Pedro
thank
Strop.
you. Pedro Strop walking off the field, and Bob Costas just tears into his soul for one of the worst outings ever after he pointed up to the sky. So that's my only saving grace with Bob. If he can do that, I'm happy.
Why don't you like Bob Costas?
I think we did avoid disaster compared to what ESPN put out for this wild card round. Talk about a shit sandwich. Holy shit. All four of those broadcasts were horrendous.
Why don't you like Bob?
I don't not like Bob. I'm just done with Bob. It's like Andy in Toy Story when he's just done with Woody, just, throws him. I've just reached I've run his course with Bob.
I disagree, as you know.
It's the same with Al Michaels for me.
Honestly. I don't mind Bob. I know he called a Dodgers playoff game almost a decade ago. It was against the Cardinals. Matt Kemp took Pat Neshek deep. That was Bob Costas on the call.
That's a deep cut, Pat Neshek.
Yeah,
that's right. You remember those moments when they're big like that. Could not stand Ron Darling. The last thing I want is some more Mets in my life. The Mets have just been an utter disaster.
Yeah,
and now
he's very Met.
Ron Darling coming off the most disaster season probably in Mets history. Only got better with the Billy Epler stuff, but he bores me. He complains about the Dodgers so much. He's always rooting against them. I think he holds a grudge against 1988. Threw a little bitch fit about Chase Utley with that slide. Nobody complained more about that than Ron Darling. Shocker, Mets fan. Shut up, Ron. I don't know why TBS is enamored with such bad broadcasters. I believe they've got Dan Orsillo as well. Oh, thank God we got to avoid him. But
what about Brian Anderson? Brian Anderson.
Love Brian Anderson. Love Brian.
He's the best, but we didn't get him. Maybe for the NLCS if the Dodgers make it. But yeah, we got to deal with
Costas over Orsillo 10 out of 10 times.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I can't stand Orsillo.
Oh, brutal in the ears.
And the Padres take a 4-1 lead.
Nando! Shut the fuck up, Don.
Jake, you sounded just like him.
Yeah. He just the same call all the time. It's just so over the top.
So there's no way he talks like that. When he's just having a conversation, don't talk like that.
No.
So stop it. And stay away from the Dodgers.
All right, quick rundown of questions, and then this would be almost the time to close out the show. Castillo, Jason, what worries you mostly about this distinguished group, about the Diamondbacks? Is it the offense? Is it the pitching? is it that they can play without expectations? So what worries you the most about Arizona, I guess?
I mean, just kind of reiterating that they're playing with house money. You know,
Yeah.
Nobody's expecting them to win. Everyone's going to count them out. No one is going to give them a chance. All of that stuff. They're going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder. They're going to be playing, just like I said, with house money. And then the other factor is their speed. They're going to be running a lot. If they get on base, they're going to be running. That's going to be their MO. So that's what worries me the most about them.
Speed for me. Them on the base pass, 100%.
For me, it's that Bill Plaschke guaranteed the Dodgers are going to win the World Series because every time he does that, it
God
jinxes
damn
us.
it, Bill.
It's better than that rap. Did you see that idiot put out that rap?
Oh, I don't know what's worse.
We got one of our own now. You know how San Diego is that Ferdy Raps guy? We got one.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Just terrible. Just stop, please. We don't need Dave Roberts declaring you were going to win the World Series. We don't need Bill Plaschke as soon as I saw that Bill Plaschke article, I was like, no.
I don't care about Bill. It's not like we listen to him, what he has to say anyway. So
no,
why
but
start
of course
now?
he always makes these declarations and they're always wrong.
Who cares? I don't pay attention to Bill anymore. Another guy. Him and Bob and Al Michaels need to just walk off into the sunset.
No, you
send
can't.
him out to pasture.
You can't put Bill Plaschke
Send
in the
him
same.
out.
No, you can't.
Okay, so Al Michaels and Bob Costas get a first-class private jet to the farm, to the retirement farm, and Bill Plaschke has to travel by covered wagon in the desert. Okay?
No, they've earned the right to walk away when they want to, and I'm talking about Al Michaels and Bob Costas. Bill Plaschke is not in that tier.
Fine.
When has Bill Plaschke even had a good take? Like 1984? Like, God.
He's better than Dylan Hernandez, in my opinion.
That's really not saying much.
Yeah,
It's not. It's not.
That's
but
his
if
boss
you have to
too.
rank them,
So it's like you're taking one guy that learned from another.
whatever.
LA Times is a mess. Other than Jake's favorite, Jack Harris.
Yeah, Jack Harris.
Mad Max _A_million. What is your favorite podcast or comedian?
Favorite podcast? Oh, I have one. I know you guys probably don't like Bill Simmons, but the Rewatchables podcast that he does is really good. It is a podcast where he basically breaks down movies that they watch, just all the classics, and they do these categories that are great, and they dissect each scene and what are the best scenes, what are the best lines, what would you do if you were recasting it, all this stuff. Really, really good stuff. So if like you have your, favorite movies that you've seen a million times, you're going to know all the moments that they're talking about, and they do a really nice job. What was the other question?
You answered it. It was podcast or comedian. So that's good. What about you, David?
I mean, my answer is going to bore everybody, but my favorite podcast right now is called A Teacher's History of the United States. It's done by this humongous nerd who's like an AP history teacher, but it is the most thorough podcast of that time period I've seen. You start out in like the 1600s, Columbian Exchange, all the way through now. I'm on episode like 100, and we just got to Yorktown at the Revolutionary War. So talk about thorough. And I'll stop talking. So
I've never heard something more on brand for you than what you just said.
It's so good. He's the biggest nerd ever, and I love it. And he has other like nerd guests on that they just like lisp around and nerd out to. It's the best.
For me, it's a DraftKings show, Pat Mayo experience, just a bunch of dudes pretending like they know how to sports bet, and then they end up rambling on about the most random, ridiculous shit. So that's my pick. If you're into NFL talk, probably one of the best shows out there. Pretty popular too. Okay. I like this comment or question from Chicken Biddle on Instagram. Hear me out. Dodgers make it to the World Series if they beat the Phillies. If Phillies beat the Braves. Congratulations, Captain Obvious, because that is how the postseason format works. If the Dodgers beat the Phillies, that means they do go to the NLCS. So appreciate the heart.
Series.
The World Series. Sorry.
Yes.
Appreciate the heart. Thank you for listening, Chicken Biddle. But yes, that is how the postseason format works. If the Dodgers beat a team in the NLCS, they do go to the World Series.
I think he's predicting a Phillies upset.
That sounds like it.
Which I kind of like. Although I kind of want to beat Atlanta. I kind of want to face off with Atlanta, honestly. Their pitching is not the scariest thing in the world at all.
So
the offense is, but I think we can hit them.
Give me the easiest route anytime.
I think Atlanta's going to have a tough time in Philadelphia.
We can make those predictions now because Evan Zero Us wants our predictions. And so we'll do a combo prediction. We'll just do some NLDS picks real quick. And then for this particular series, you can this will also tie into Dodge 16_12, who mentioned on our Discord chat. So make sure to join that Discord. I'll have the link below. Who do you guys seeing as the X factor for the Dodgers? So you can tie that into your predictions as well. But we'll start with first the NLDS predictions. Who's advancing? How many games, I guess, again?
Well, I sort of said my X factor was Will Smith earlier, so I'm going to stick with that. And I'm going Dodgers in 4.
I'm taking Dodgers in 4. X factor. I'll go Outman, honestly. Right-handed heavy pitching staff. He's going to get a ton of at-bats. I think he's comfortable in his role, and I think he has a good series. Are we doing the other side too, like Phillies Braves?
Yeah, 1 second though. I'll go Dodgers in 3. James Outman is also my guy. This will mark the beginning of Outtober. No more Jocktober, but Outtober. James Outman is going to not only do some stuff with the bat, he will take Zach Gallen deep once. I'll just throw it out there right now. He's going to make an amazing defensive save in the outfield. So that's my X factor.
Did you come up with Outtober? I like that.
I did.
Nice.
Trademarking that.
Yeah.
All right. Phillies, Braves. What do you guys think is the outcome?
I'll take the Phillies in an upset.
I was going to go Phillies too.
Yeah, I'll take them. I'll buy into what they're selling.
Give me Phillies in 4.
Yeah. Is that yours too, David?
In 4? No, I'll go in 5. I'll go it goes the distance and they win in Atlanta. I think Atlanta has the kind of aura that the Dodgers have had for the last 5 years of being that top dog, 110 whatever win team, best offense, historic run, incredible superstar. They have taken on the Dodgers role essentially, and the Dodgers have proven that that's not easy to win in with all those expectations and pressure, and it's not easy to get up for those games when you're expected to be in the World Series. You're kind of just subconsciously just waiting for the World Series. So yeah, give me Phillies in 5.
I just before Kevin goes, I just want to say one bit of why I think the Phillies, the atmosphere at
the bank
at their ballpark is just electric. I mean, did you see that clip, the Bryson Stott grand slam, where it was just the audio of the crowd? Oh my God. Like, can you playing as the Marlins in that? I mean, Jesus Christ, they had no chance. The Phillies have beaten the Braves before in the playoffs recently. So I just feel like they've got that juice again that they're going to beat the Braves. And I think the Braves might fall flat.
Shout out Spurs World. Thank you for wishing us a good night. Love the show. Thank you, Javier T. I'll talk shit about Bill Plaschke. He's a big hypocrite. I'm not surprised at all that he was shitting on the Dodgers a month ago. What a hypocrite. And I agree with Lucas and Sadie's show. I would love Dontrell Willis to be a part of the broadcast. Go on the Braves.
Magic.
Braves in 5. Phillies, your Cinderella stories ended at this point. Time's up. The Atlanta Braves are the better team. They won't win it easily, but they're just better this season.
Did you say Braves in 5? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I'm going Braves in 5.
Okay.
Phillies beat the Marlins. Like, talk about a cupcake matchup. Marlins deserve to make the playoffs, obviously, but maybe the worst team of all time to make the postseason.
No, that Brewers team we beat was worse in 2020.
Oh God, that was so bad.
So bad. Ryan Healy was their cleanup hitter.
Oof. Okay. Twins, Astros, quick predictions.
The Twins are going to regret, or the Twins fans are going to regret chanting "We want Houston." Have they learned
Yeah, they
nothing?
are.
That was, I saw that. I was like, what the hell? What are you doing?
Oh, yeah.
I will say though, watching the Twins Blue Jays series at Target Field, that was a pretty electric crowd. I did not expect that out of Minnesota. You know, I know that they've obviously had the most historic losing streak in postseason history of any major team sport out there, but I love the fan atmosphere at that ballpark. They were electric. But unfortunately, their Cinderella story is going to end because the Astros are advancing to the ALCS, and I believe it's going to be Astros in 4.
Yeah, I love the Midwest. I love Midwesterners. They are the best people in the country, hands down. The Minnesota Twins are going to lose in 3 games.
I'm going to go Minnesota Twins in a not really an upset because they're the upper seed, but I'll go Twins in 4. I don't buy the Astros anymore. Like, their magic has to run out. They won the World Series last season. It's time. Let another team advance. Royce Lewis is like a breakout star. Wouldn't be surprised if he just continues to carry it over, and Carlos Correa will get some revenge. I also think the Twins have better pitching. The joke was at the start of the season when you guys were like, I can't name any Twins pitchers. Well, you can certainly name some Twins pitchers now. So I think they have the better pitching.
Sonny Gray.
Yeah, Sonny Gray. Big Sonny.
Yeah. Kenta Maeda might get some revenge too.
Can I say something about Kenta Maeda real
I
quick?
love Kenta Maeda.
I love Kenta Maeda, and I also just want to give him a shout out because obviously when the Dodgers used him as a reliever in 2017 in that era, he was awesome. I mean, he accepted the role and he fucking dominated. It's just unfortunate that the Astros cheated their way through that game 5, which was just so uncharacteristic of him to get blown up like that. And then he didn't want to remain with the Dodgers because he wanted to be a starting pitcher. He goes to Minnesota. He struggled with injuries. Minnesota
got Tommy John.
Got Tommy John, struggled with injuries, is finally back, and again is accepting that bullpen role of that fireman out of the bullpen. And I just love that. I love that for him. And I couldn't be happier for Kenta Maeda. And I miss him on the Dodgers.
Me too, dude. He's a beast.
Orioles, Rangers.
That's the toughest one to predict for me.
Yes, I agree.
I mean,
do you believe the hype in Baltimore?
I do, but I also believe that Bruce Bochy is a factor, like a real factor.
But that Rangers bullpen is atrocious.
Dude, it was Josh Sborz was their first guy up to close out the series.
Out.
First guy up, Bruce. Give me Sborz. So, yeah, you're right. I'm going to take Baltimore. I think it's going to be close. But I think I'm buying that young group of people. Although their pitching staff is a huge concern for me, especially with Bautista, their closer done. Their starter's not that great. Kyle Bradish is really good. Aside from that, Dean Kramer solid, but kind of iffy after that, in my opinion. So yeah, give me the Orioles still, even with the pitching. I think they'll hit.
I'm gonna go Orioles in 5.
Oh yeah, 5 for me too.
It's the kids versus the vets. I love the Orioles lineup. I love the Rangers lineup too, but I love the Orioles lineup. I don't know. I just think with Texas's terrible bullpen, the fact that they had Robbie Grossman hitting 3rd in their lineup, what is that? Obviously, we're basically saying that we're counting out Corey Seager here, as amazing as he is in the postseason with him and Simeon at the top. I just don't think it's going to be enough, but I think it's going to be a good series for sure. You're going Rangers, aren't you? Aren't you, Kevin?
I'm going Baltimore 4.
Okay.
You guys kind of already talked about it. I don't trust the Rangers bullpen. Chapman is in there. He's due for another colossal failure. Will Smith also kind of struggled. So it's going to be tough for Boshi. Orioles just are clicking right now. I don't know if they're going to make it to the World Series, but I think they're going to survive this round. Adley Rutschman is like the best catcher in baseball. I think he's going to pop off.
Gunnar Henderson is the real talent there.
The real talent? Come on.
American hero, Cedric
Why?
Mullins.
Why are we
dissing
He was
pretty hyped in the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, he was good.
Mullins?
Didn't play a lot.
Cedric Mullins. Yeah.
Yeah, he's had a down year, but yeah, he's a good player.
Santander is their like vet, really.
Excuse me, Santander.
Sorry. Tony Santandy.
All right. Well, pretty much covers everything here. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about or bring up real quick, got a few more minutes. Otherwise, you can get into your final predictions or any other things you wanted to talk real quick.
I don't know. I think I brought up everything that I wanted to say.
I'm actually going to say something nice about somebody for a change.
Whoa. What's going on over there?
We hate on this guy more than anybody on the show, and it's all deserved because he sucks. He's the worst. But Ben Verlander, for the first time in like 2 years, actually didn't fuck up every single one of his division series wildcard picks. So I just wanted to say something nice about him because it's always so negative with him. But I just wanted to say I'm proud of him for at least getting 2 wildcard picks right, where if you missed it the past 2 years, didn't get 1 pick right at all. Goose egg 2 years in a row. So shout out to Ben.
Well, all of his division winners were wrong this year.
This year?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But preseason.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking postseason predictions when we know the teams.
The bar
past
is so
2 years.
low.
He missed all of them. Every single pick he got wrong.
The bar is so
though,
low for him, though.
Don't let him get hot. Don't let him get hot.
Yeah. Okay.
Just what Ben Verlander needs, more clout. Thanks, David.
Well, it's Ben. I'm the Ben Verlander watchdog, essentially. So I might as well say something nice about him.
Credit where credit is due.
Oh, brother.
That's all I got.
All right. Well, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, playoffs begin Saturday night, TBS.
Bob Costas.
We'll figure out the next time we go live. I don't know if it'll be after game 1 or game 2, but we'll have more content out there. Thank you guys so much for following the Incline Dodgers all season. Now it's time for our hairs to get gray once again. Clayton Kershaw, you're on the clock, buddy.
Please, God. Please, Kersh.
Stay out of our way, God.
Here's a hot pick. Hot take. Clayton Kershaw will hit 91 miles per hour at least once in the playoffs, on this playoff start.
Okay.
All right.
Pretty big considering he hasn't thrown, I think, above 88 since coming back off the injured list.
I was hoping you'd go for something a little more like he's gonna pitch 5 scoreless innings or something like that.
He's gonna give up probably at least 1 run, but yeah, Clayton Kershaw will throw 5 or 6 innings of.
You're gonna be a burrito with the radar gun.
Yeah. Big cigar.
Yeah.
Kevin behind home plate.
Kershaw hitting 91. That's my Kershaw prediction right there. I don't really want to jinx him, but yeah.
I'll say, okay, well, I'll one up you. I'll say Bobby Miller hits 102.
That would be sick.
How about
probably
them apples?
Probably his first fastball that he throws.
Yep.
How about Brewstar Gratterall?
103? You raising me a 103?
He's going to strike out the side in order.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Dodgers bullpen. I think they're going to have a big series. We didn't really talk about them that much, but I think it's because they've kind of been stabilized over the second half of the season. But yeah, Incline Dodgers, make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, like this episode, leave a review. And if you haven't yet on our Instagram, you can win a JD Martinez bobblehead.
Can't quite see it.
It's there. Just trust us.
It's there. Trust. Yeah.
Yeah. How about that? There we go.
Oh, there you go.
JD Martinez, who I also agree will hit at least 1 home run in the series. Dodgers are going to pop off. Mookie Betts will have a big series.
You're just hip firing him now.
Yep, might as well. We're about to end the show. Might as well just get it all out there.
I thought we were ending the show, and then you just keep hip firing your Gatling gun.
These are my final thoughts. Mookie Betts goes deep at least twice. Hits
Bob Guerin's getting tossed.
Bob Guerin, not even a manager anymore.
Clayton McCullough.
Yeah, Clayton McCall's getting run out of here.
Dino Ebel won't fuck up. How about that?
Yeah, Dino needs to tighten it up. It's the playoffs.
He had
Dino needs to tighten
he
it
had
up.
a good season.
He did have a good season.
He had an all right season.
We didn't talk about him once. He had a great
I
season.
brought him up. I did. There was a couple weeks in there when he was really getting frisky, and it needed to stop.
Yeah, I kept sending like JD Martinez home or
Yeah, just
Peralta.
tighten it up, Dino. You'll be fine.
All right. Peace out, everyone. Go Dodgers. Hopefully we're not live anymore.
I think it is.
Still
Says live.
Oh, all right. Well, then I'm just going to end this entire thing then.
Yeah.